Hello guys, Pickle700 here, and in today's video, this is a pretty exciting day for not only me, but I'm sure a few of you guys, because I've been keeping this quite secret. This is a pretty big box. Here's my arm on it, and this can only mean one thing, because the old panel died, and this is the new panel now. So, I've been keeping it very secret and pretty quiet that a new panel was on the way. I only replied to one comment saying that there's a new panel on the way. And a lot of you probably think I'm getting a new board. And not going to say that's not happening, but I'm not going to say it is. So I'm probably not fooling anyone at this point. So let's open the new panel. I have not even opened it yet, so it could be on fire in the box or broken. And I guess we'll just have to go with it at that point, and that will suck. I covered up my shipping address so none of you creepy creeps start stalking me and stuff. So I know what the panel is, but I don't think any of you do, unless the creepy creeps have been stalking me that much. Now, I'm not actually sure if that's going to be upright when I open it or not. It could be upside down or something. So please forgive me and let me live. Now I'm glad that whoever delivered this put it underneath my cover of my house because it's been raining. So now you guys can probably tell what brand it is. It's black. You see notifier. So now you might be able to see it through the bubble wrap. So I have to figure out how I can get out of here. Already I can tell this is way bigger than I was expecting. I apologize for this not being very graceful at all. Here it is, SFP 10UD. So this was a used panel, but is in very good condition. Alright, I'll go ahead and open it up. So in here, we have our two keys right here, notifier keys, and I have a lot of notifier keys at this point. So those should go in this way, and they do. Which way does this panel turn? There we go, I didn't have the key in all the way. Right here, our manual. Glad this came with this. So this applies to SFP 5UD and 10UD. Something else. Here we have our battery connectors. Right here, so we have our jumper, which I actually made one, thinking that it wouldn't come with one, but it comes with a jumper too. And our connectors, this is what goes into the panel. And last but certainly not least, we have a bunch of resistors right here. We have, I guess, our grounding pigtail. And now we have a bunch of more resistors, so tons of resistors. But that's great. So that's everything inside of here. So I'll go ahead and put these items to the side. Now let's open up the panel. There it is. So as I mentioned, it was used, so we do have a cord here. So here's the panel. It's a lot bigger than the MS4. Like not only sideways and up and down, but the depth of it is a lot deeper, and it's got a separate part underneath here. So this is our power supply section of the panel, where you have your transformer and all of your power supply components. So now this panel, one of my favorite things about this panel, which may seem like a minor thing, is this puts out filtered DC, not full way rectified. So that means any older devices will sound a lot better on this panel and cleaner, and it won't kill some simplex devices that you can, like the free run simplex that don't use smart sync. As you guys may know, I'm not a fan of simplex. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that in any times below, but here it is. This is the first time clicking any of the buttons. This is super cool. So I think we should put it up on the wall now. So one of the first things I need to do before putting it up is I need to knock out the top right knockout. Sorry, that's out of focus. So top right knockout I will punch out now. Okay, that's the 1/2 inch one, but I think I'm going to need the 3/4 inch one, so I'm just going to check. So if I grab needle nose pliers, I should be able to get that out eventually. There we go. Okay, so the panel is up now. I have all our wires coming through. I just have to finish tightening that lock nut up there. The panel is secured at the bottom, and now there is 3 up here that I can use to secure it. I'm probably definitely going to use this middle one since it lands right on a stud. As you can see, there's a screw there, and I might as well just use the other 2 to make sure this panel is really solid on the wall. So luckily all of these wires are going to be long enough to make it over. I wasn't exactly sure about that. Now this panel is a lot taller than my other one, just so it's more realistic. I like that. Okay, I've got a 6-inch really long drill bit now to attach those back screws. And I've got 3 washers, 1 long screw, and then 2 short ones. So now I'm sorry I didn't show me installing the first screws and putting it up, but to be honest, I was a little bit terrified because I didn't want to drop this thing. It's a lot heavier than the old panel. So I'm going to start by putting the washer on this long screw that will go into the stud. And this one is going to go right here, and that should be into a stud. Okay, that's really good and solid. While drilling that in, I could really definitely tell that that was into a stud, because you can feel it when it's really solid if it's into a stud or not. Not sure how much a point of these 2 have in this case. They're not into anything solid other than the OSB, but that's really solid. This isn't going anywhere. But there we go. Alright, panel door's on now. Now, as you may be able to tell, panel's really high. Here's me. I'm like 5'6", 5'5 3/4", something like that. So I can still reach the display good, but it's pretty high, pretty realistic height. This is how they are in many schools in my district, at about this height. Some are a little bit lower, some are a little bit higher, but it's a good, pretty realistic height. So our next step will be connecting all of our fire alarm circuits, not our 120 volts. I'll do that last. So with our fire alarm circuits, I don't know what is what. I have an understanding that the 5 conductor ones are spares, but everything else is being used. 2 of them are NACs and 2 of them are zones. And then 1 is door holder power. So is what I'm going to do is I will strip off the ends of them and I will test for continuity, put a couple of the circuits, the ignition circuits into alarm, and then I'll use a battery to test which NACs are what, and then put them on the corresponding terminals, and then we'll power up the panel and start programming. But the programming is actually going to be in a separate video. Maybe I'll put it in this one, I'm not exactly sure yet, so I'll come back once this is all done. Okay, so at this point, I have, other than these spare ones, which are going to be used in the future, maybe I'll get an A and an A enunciator, because that only needs 4 wires, and then the other one is just spare. For I could either have two more zones, 2 more NACs, NAC and a zone, whatever I want. Those are just spare, since I thought it's easier just to run everything at once. So now I'm stripping off the ends of all of our circuits that I know are being used. And now with a meter, I'm going to test continuity on everything to make sure everything should be like this, where there is I don't get a tone, because if I get a tone that means there's a short somewhere in the circuit, which I don't want. But then with our pull stations, I can, if I think I'm on the zone, I can short it by pulling a pull station, and then I know that that's the thing I have. So I'm just going to strip all of them, make sure there's no continuity, so when I apply power I'm not going to be shorting my batteries. And then I'll see which ones are NACs first, and then I'll go to the 2 zone. And yes, I know this panel is extremely overkill for my setup. I wanted a 5UD or a 10UD, preferably a 10UD. And the more NAC power is nice, but really I just wanted the 10UD because of the fact that then I have filtered DC. And then another nice part about this one is its notifier. So basically the same thing. If I ever call it MS 10UD or refer to it as one or comparing, doesn't matter. The SFP 10UD by notifier is the exact same thing, just as like the ADT Unimode 10UD is the same thing. So all of these are basically the same. You can just pretend this is a Firelight panel. I just like the color of the notifier ones better with the gray and black. I know this one here is going to be our other NAC, because if I apply power, there you can hear there's our low frequency sounder. I have that up right now, but eventually I might put up my 439D bell, because as you may remember with the MS4, it sounded louder on battery backup. And then for this panel, that won't be the case. Okay, at this point I have both the NACs hooked up, so I'm not exactly sure how I should be laying the wires out in the panel, but since they come from the back, I'm running them along the back, and then they kind of go up around the top and then down to the terminals. I think that's just what would look the cleanest and give me the most room for running other things behind the panel here. So now we just have 3 other things to figure out: which one's door holder power, and then which one is both zones. So I'll find out which one are both zones, and then I'll find out and then I'll obviously know which one the door holder power is. So I'm going to try and find zone 1 first. So here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to have the pull stations as zone 1. So, there we go. Now normally we'd be hearing all kinds of things making noise, but the panel's not powered up yet. So, right here, these 2 wires right here, I'm getting my tone. So I know these 2 are going to be my zone 1. So now at this point it's getting pretty easy. And now this is it's a very small system actually. So this process would be more difficult if this system was a big one. Zone 1 is terminated, so we can go ahead, reset this pull station. So at this point I have narrowed it down to just 2 wires. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm not going to use a 12 volt battery, because if something does short, let's say a smoke detector is dirty or something, that's going to be a much bigger spark show than this little 9 volt battery can do. So for this one, I know one of the zone's smoke detectors, so I'm going to put the 9 volt battery on this one. There, that's making contact. And now is what we can go around and do, is look at smoke detectors. As it only is 9 volts, but it still should be enough, so this one's in a pretty dark space. There, we just saw that do a little blinky blink, so we know that this is the zone, but we'll make sure it blinks again. I think it's just it again. Yeah, and it's same on the i3, that one's going to be pretty hard to see because the light, but it just blinked too. Probably couldn't tell. And if we go to a last detector, yeah, that one just blinked as well. So we know that that's zone 2. We now have our last ones hooked up to the 12 volt battery, and I know that should be door holder, but to verify, I'll go over to the door holder, and now this door holder has 3 settings. It has 12 volts DC setting, 24 volts DC or AC, and 120 AC. So now this is set to 24 DC, so it's not sticking very strong, but it is just barely sticking, so I know. And if I put my ear on the door, I can hear the slight buzzing of the door holder. So now these don't actually reach down to here. Well, they kind of do, but not the way I want them to. But I don't want them to anyways, since I need to go through the relays first. So the relays, same thing, they just pop off like that. So factory, this is supervisory, I believe, trouble alarm. So they will go through the alarm relay, but I might actually have them go through 2 relays because, like you know in my last panel, I wanted the power to drop out when the AC power was lost. So I'm not sure if I can have one relay do 2 things, be an alarm relay and an AC loss relay. So I might have to have it go through 2 relay, but the fire alarm panel won't get any trouble if that's not there. So that can wait. So now we are going to hook up our 120 volts AC. But first, we will put on our resistors. So we have these resistors right here. These ones are great for out on the field, but won't really work with the type of terminals that are on this panel. So that's why we have these ones. So there's 15 of these ones, which would do everything on the panel, because you need 15. Because you need 10 for your zones if you weren't using. If you weren't using any of the zones, you could have them on here, but mine will be out in the field. But luckily these are still 4.7 k ohm resistors, so I can use my old resistors from my old panel that are out in the field. But let's say you're using nothing, you'd need 1 for NAC 1, 1 for NAC 2, and then 5 for the first bus of zones, another 2 there, then so 10 for all the zones, and then 4 for the NACs. So then you might be thinking 14, what would you need another one for? This panel has this remote sync right here. So this is if you have a booster panel like a NAC booster, you would actually connect 2 wires to here, which will go to a similar spot on the booster panel, which this panel would send out as if the synchronization protocol, whatever it is, to that panel, and then that would be how you would have your strobes in synchronization if they were in the same visible area that you would require that. So basically just syncing for the NACs on a booster panel. It does require to be supervised just like any of the zones or NACs. Alright, it's been a while. It's probably actually been about 10 minutes. All the resistors are on. That actually took a lot longer than I thought. So I have them all turned instead of facing this way, it's sideways, just so that none of them touch each other, especially on the zones, as is important, so there's not an alarm and so you don't short any of the NACs to each other or anything like that. That's important, so those are all a safe distance apart. So at this point, all we need to do is knock out this knockout down here and bring our 120 volts AC in, and then we'll put in that grounding thing, which goes right there. Okay, I've now attached this bonding pigtail, so this will bond all of our initiating device circuits and our NACs up there and any of our other low voltage circuits. So I've got this knockout knocked out, so now I can run this up into the panel. So I'll update you once that's done. Okay, 120 volt side is all hooked up, so we're going to flip the power onto it now. Okay, it's initializing. Battery trouble, obviously, I'll acknowledge that. So then it said A&N bus fault. I guess I have to program it that there's no. And then we have if I go down, there's a NAC 2 fault, not sure why that is. Maybe I don't have a resistor all the way in or something, I'm not sure. Alright, I'm going to start trying to clear those. I'll update you once the system's all back to normal. Alright, panel is pretty much programmed, so here if you go up to it, if I can focus on this, as you can see, garage fire alarm system all normal. I have the time, it is 4:56 p.m. So if we go ahead and open up the panel, everything is good up here. A system sensor synchronization on the NACs, and then on the NACs I also have 15-minute auto silence, which is nice. The system is pretty much complete, so if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I look forward to making plenty of videos of this system in the future.